I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Madi Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, everyone, welcome on in. It's season 5, episode 17, Partridge, and it's such a great episode. This is a good one, I feel.
Yeah, I really like this one. This one
There
and
are
then
so
the
many...
next one.
Yeah, and the next one. Oh my gosh, this whole season I feel is really golden. But there's a lot of great new people in here that are really exciting, like here and last episode too. And also, first of all, welcome back, Madi. Hello.
Hi. Thank you for welcoming me back.
So
It's nice to be physically here instead of on a voice memo.
I know. I like it too. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, this Partridge episode was written by Dave King, who we talked about a while ago, but he is a Lurpus. And if you've been listening in the Lurpus lore, I think so far he has been in a deleted scene, so only I've seen him, but also he was the Lil Sebastian impersonator handler. So as Leslie and Ben are like facing back to back. So that is a Lurpus, and he's also a huge comedy writer. He's been in The Good Place or written on The Good Place. Oh my gosh, English Teacher. Have you heard of this show?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Oh my gosh, it's on Hulu, and it's only like 7 or something, whatever episodes. It's based in Texas. It's so good. You guys have to watch it. It's so funny. I love it so much.
I like that length. I feel like there's so much content out there now.
It's
like
hard.
if I see something that has 5 seasons already or 20 episodes in a season, like I'm sure they're good, but like my brain is like, I can't commit to that right now.
I know, it's really hard. But English Teacher, I think I had mentioned on here a while ago, with the main character who created and writes and directs and produces all of it and everything. He's on TikTok doing like a lot of this trend that's on TikTok. And so like he has gotten a lot of views, I think, from that, which is so bizarre to even say that TikTok led them to maybe watch the show. But that's kind of what you have to do these days. It's so wild. But anyway, so yes, Dave King wrote on English Teacher, and they just got picked up for a second season, so I'm very excited for them. He's done also Reboot, the show with oh my gosh, everybody. I'm not even going to get into everybody, but that's also on Hulu. So good. And then it was directed by Tristram Shapiro, who we've seen direct Parks a few times, but it's been a while. He directed in season 2 with The Possum and 92 Meetings. And then in season 4 with Live Ammo, which was the one with Bradley Whitford from West Wing. And sadly, this is his last episode directing Parks, which is a great episode to go out on, I feel. But he's directed a lot of things that we love, like Never Have I Ever, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Good Place, Community, Superstore. Like, he's done it all. So it's a really good team here.
Nice. Love it.
Awesome. Well, I'm ready for a summary whenever you are.
Let's do it. This week, Ben and Leslie take a fun trip up to Ben's hometown of Partridge, Minnesota. In a time when Ben feels like things are looking up in his hometown, he finds a different reality waiting for him. Chris and Anne start taking the next steps towards parenthood, testing their ability to parent together. Ron deals with the aftermath of punching Jeremy Jamm in the face.
Oh my God, stupid Jamm.
I know, I hate it. But I kind of love this too.
I know, it's a great one.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone is interested, I'm sure you saw this on IMDb or wherever, but apparently Mike Schur is a fan of the author David Foster Wallace, who wrote the book Infinite Jest, and this whole episode has homages/references to that book. So like the name of the lawyer's office and the compatibility test name, the hospital name, like all those things are references to the Infinite Jest novel.
Nice.
From what I know, it's not the storylines, because at first I was like, so he based this whole thing on the novel, like it's already been written kind of, and it's just like the names of them. So
yeah,
that's nice. That's cute.
Yeah, I like that.
I feel like I would do that if I had a show and I was like wanting to just mess around with names, you know?
Yeah. Well, and it makes it easier too, right? Like sometimes I try to sit and think of like what would I name something to be unique? And it's like easier to just pull from your world.
Right. Totally. Well, so we start this episode with someone coming in looking for Ron, and Ron definitely does not want to answer / talk to this person in true Ron fashion. And so he says he stepped out pretending that he's not Ron. But then this guy clearly did his research, I guess. I don't know if that's like a thing when you're served a subpoena, but he totally knows his subject because he says that Ron won a free dinner from St. Elmo's Steakhouse, which of course breaks Ron. And he's like, I'm Ron. And it turns out he got served.
Yeah, I think that this is Jamm because I think people who serve people like that, literally their only job is to deliver these papers.
Right.
Unless this guy is like, I'm going to do my job to the 10,000%. I feel like it was Jamm's idea.
Maybe. I guess I never thought that like the person serving the subpoena has like ever talked to the person that's like on the other end of it. Like I wouldn't have thought that guy would have talked to Jamm. I thought he just like picks stuff up and like delivers it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like Jamm is like
like he would
squirrely
have found
enough,
out.
like snaky enough that he would have like gotten the guy and been like, he's not going to take the papers. This is what you have to do.
Okay, got it.
You know?
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of realities that we could create, so that's fine. Either way, we learn that he got served, and Tom is like, "Which ex-wife is it?" And it's not. It's Jamm, as Maddie just said. This fellow's name, by the way, who serves the subpoena, is named Jeffrey Mueller or Muller. It's Muller is his last name.
With the umlauts?
No.
Okay.
I know
I would say
someone with the
Mueller.
last name of Mueller that's Mue.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, his name is Jeffrey, so we'll go with that. And he's been in This Is Us, Westworld. He's the voice of a character on a show called Clone High, which looks super fun. A lot of crime shows like NCIS and stuff like that. So well done for you. Thank you, Jeffrey, for your service. But that was really sucky.
Yeah. Sucky thing to do.
Ron. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But then we learn that, yes, what's his name? Jamm is serving Ron because he punched him in the face at Leslie's wedding. And oh my gosh, all of the lists of the things are just really hilarious. The dental repair, $13,000 for orthodontic surgery and enamel repair, and $46 million for psychological damage. And I just love that Andy is like, yeah, that seems accurate.
Yeah. I know. I love that too. He just, so well delivered.
Yeah. And I can see that $13,000 for orthodontic because that's expensive, orthodontics and like
It is,
dental
yeah.
work and,
Anything
you know.
teeth really is like pretty expensive.
Yeah, totally.
That's why my mom wanted me to be an orthodontist. She's like, you work Monday through Thursday and you make a bunch of money.
Yeah, totally. And then Andy says, oh my gosh, that's really hilarious. Andy says, let me be your lawyer. No thanks. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
I
very
love
nice of
him.
you.
And it's kind of like that scene in The Office when Andy is trying to reach the sales goal for Robert California. And he's like telling Oscar, fudge the numbers. Just make the mistake. And Kevin's like, I can do it. And they're like,
Yeah.
no, you can't. You know, and it's like that. It's like if there's somebody who could make the mistake, but it's like it could go so wrong if you don't do it the right way that you don't want that person doing it. That's what it is.
Well, then Ron says that he'll represent himself, and Tom says that he's surprised that Ron is taking it so well. And then we hear a bang and a scream from Ron, and he hit the wall with his bat, which is now stuck in the wall. And I love how casually he asks April, like, will you call maintenance, please? Yeah.
And a piece of wall falls out right after he says that.
Oh, my God. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I love it a lot.
Yeah. There are days that I wish I could do that.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Totally. But then it would just cause more damage than anything else. So
yeah,
that's why
it's
you
not
have,
worth the stress.
have to take a boxing class or scream into your pillow or something.
Do you know that they do these like anger rooms or something? I don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
like
I
you
think
just
you're
break
rage
stuff?
rooms. I think.
Yeah.
And people bring like old TVs and microwaves, and you just smash stuff for like an hour. And I've heard it's a really good release. I've never tried it.
We should do it together someday.
Yeah, that would be really fun. I feel
That'd
like it would
be so
take
fun.
me a while to like get into it. Like, this is a thing. Like, this is I don't know. I feel like that's why I like punching a bag.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not hurting the bag. But I've always done that. I've always given like feelings to feeling things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. But yeah, I think I'd be into it.
It's easy to do. to do that.
Yeah. Inanimate. That's the word. I
Yeah.
was like, I've given feelings to
Non-feeling
non-feeling
things.
things. Inanimate things. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so now we're with Ben and Leslie, and they're in Partridge, Minnesota, according to the plaque on the outside of the wall. And Leslie is trying to create this picture of when he was town mayor on the steps of Partridge City Hall. And it's very cute. It's very cute.
Yeah. Yeah, this is nice. I mean, she's so excited for him, and he's so excited. Like, we're seeing like a kid side of Ben, he comes out, like the kid version of Ben comes out like occasionally, but
Yeah.
usually so serious, right? So
Yeah.
it's makes it so much more sad the way the episode goes.
Totally. That he has his hopes up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, then we learn that the reason that they're back is because he's getting the key to the city, and they hadn't done that yet. But Leslie is like, they gave it to every other mayor. Like, I don't know why they haven't given it to him yet, but we know why, really.
Yeah. We know why, Leslie. Come on.
Yeah. And then oh my gosh, that line, it kind of like struck me because I don't know, we learned that Ben made the city's unemployment rate go to 30%.
30%.
That is insane.
That's steep.
That's really difficult to come back from.
It is.
But at the same time, it's one of those things too where a part of me is like, I mean, I have feelings as we get further down, but I also wonder, like, why did the city think an 18-year-old would do well?
Yeah.
Did he run against anyone? I can't remember the backstory of this, but like, why?
I can't either.
It's like in The Office, going off of Office references, when Pam is like, you don't blame the kid who starts the car, you blame the mom who gave him the keys.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
And I'm just like, why? Question mark?
Yeah, like, I mean, he wanted to do something cool for the city, right? He's thinking like a kid. Icetown is something for the kids. It's something for like his demographic at the time. And he didn't have a knowledge of like how to best spend the money. Like, he should have had advisors too, right? Like, that would have helped. Yeah. So yes, it cannot all be on Ben. That's a great point.
Because I feel like it could have, like, I don't know, I'm getting too deep, but I do feel like Icetown could have done well for the mayor, or for the town rather.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean?
Yeah.
If it was like steered in the right direction or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think.
But anyway, now they're like back on their feet, and it's like 20 years later or whatever. And it is really cute, honestly, like, you know, just speaking of how Leslie's excited for him, it is really cute to think back on when they first met and how she was kind of making fun of him for being the kid mayor. Yeah. And now that she's like, you know, in love with him, / you know, if you're on Leslie's good side / if you're on Leslie's team, she's just obsessed with everything that has to do with you as a person. So she's really obsessed with this and is going to stick up for you, like, no matter what, which I think is really cute.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
But I mean, she is faking it, and not a little bit, because her little glance to camera of like, "Yay, town hero," and she's like, "No, not really."
Yeah, that was a stretch. Town hero is a stretch.
Yeah. Yikes. And side note, we talked about this when we first mentioned Icetown, but just a friendly reminder that Icetown Complex was an actual complex in Riverside, where Alan Yang is from, Riverside, California. And Alan Yang is a writer on the show, which I haven't really heard or seen that he wrote any episodes by himself lately, but I think he was still in the writer's room at this time, like breaking stories and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. I like that. I would have hung out in an Icetown.
Yeah,
when I was a
think
kid.
So.
Hockey's super big in Minnesota. Makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I do love this cute little montage of them walking through the town, and I think they're eating frozen yogurt or ice cream or something. Yeah. And it's very precious to me.
Well, it's like Ben's gotten to spend almost their entire relationship absorbing Leslie's childhood, basically, right? Like her hometown. And this is his chance to share his hometown with her. Yeah. And so it's really special. Like, I think about that personally. It's like, it's so cool to be able to show someone, especially somebody you care about, like your history, where you came from.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, anyway, now we're at the lawsuit with Jamm and Ron, and Jamm is just like being ridiculous and stupid. And April is saying, like, this lawsuit's totally going to get thrown out. This is so stupid and dumb. And Tom is like, I don't know. That's the lawyer that John Ralphio got. To give him $60,000 because he got too scared at a haunted house.
Oh, of course he did. Of course he did. Oh my God.
It's so funny. Ugh.
Yeah. And it's funny that Tom knows that. Like, Tom's that invested in everything going on with John Ralphio that he knows.
Yeah, and there are definitely lawyers who will represent you for that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they get a good payout too if they win.
Yeah. But okay, now we're at the Parks Department with April and Chris, and I'm glad that you're finally here for one of these because if anyone has been following either the podcast or our social media accounts, you know how frustrated I am with this storyline, and
Yes.
I don't really understand what the fuck is happening, to be honest. And I do preface every post and every time I say this with, I love this show so stern much, but I will never understand this plot line, especially because when I texted you, and someone had commented about this and made me think about it completely differently too. But as I'm analyzing it, we skipped over the part where they're becoming
Co-parents
together.
Yeah.
Co-parents.
Rather than him just donating the sperm.
Right. We went from sperm donor to dad real quick.
Yeah.
And we skipped over that. Like, nothing was really mentioned of that to my knowledge in my analyzing of it. Nothing was really said like, I want to raise this kid with Chris. But I mean, I guess if you it's such a stretch though, because I guess if you think about when she said like Chris can be really paternal, like I guess that could have been like a sign of like he might be able to raise this kid with me kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still such a stretch. And so I guess that's kind of where I'm at, where I'm just like, what are we doing again?
Yeah. What's happening?
And I had talked about like, if she's gonna, get his sperm and she raises his kid in the town, he will see the kid around probably. We don't know that she's moving yet. So like he will see the kid around. So maybe there needs to be a conversation of like who Chris is maybe to this person if they want to go that route. But it was never like you're going to be the dad and we're going to raise this kid together and like maybe go back and forth with houses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of like when they're sitting, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, right? Where they're being asked all these questions that they don't have the same answer to. It's like, I know it was put together like Anne spent a long time coming up with this idea that she wanted to be a mom, right? And again, I think I mentioned how weird it was to me, how quick it went from I'm not good with kids to I want a baby, right? Super weird. But it sounds like she took time to like say, okay, I'm going to go for a sperm donor. And then everything else has kind of been like not taking a bunch of like not talking about the next steps and everything, because you should know a lot of those things if you're going to co-parent with someone. Like
it's wild.
It's really wild. I think the thing that has always come to my mind is I feel like Rashida and Rob, they were like, we're done at the end of this season. And the writers were kind of like, how quickly can we write them out? Like, what's the best way we can write them out and the quickest way? And it was just done. And obviously, like, we love this show. We love the writers, like, but there are times where it feels sloppy and it feels like the chemistry is lacking for where they're going. And it's not that they don't have chemistry, because they had chemistry the first time they dated. I just think there's a lot missing here for me.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, on that note, so they're doing their compatibility test or whatever. And for their parenting journey, apparently they found this website from the fertility lady. And they have a 58% compatibility score, which is not great. And Chris is stupid and says, like, that's literally the best score we could have hoped for. No, that's not true. I will say I love that they had fun with this and that Donna took it too and Jerry took it. Yeah. She got an 81% compatibility and that Jerry took it and him and Anne got an 84% compatibility, which is like insane. But I just love Donna so much of like, you're everything else.
Your hair, my everything else.
Yes. Yes. Want to make a baby Traeger?
I love it's so funny. And honestly, if you sit there and you think about it, Donna and Chris would probably have similar parenting styles. Like, she wouldn't be as rigid as him, but he would be in the like calm, go with the flow, and she's very like go with the flowy. And Jerry is much more structured and Anne's more structured. I don't know. Yeah. Chris is structured too, for sure. But Anne seems to care a little bit more about things, whereas Chris is just a little bit more, oh, cool, this thing happened.
As long as he's happy.
We can fix it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
It's
like, I
interesting.
mean, I think anybody who's having a kid, I mean, there might be discrepancies, of course. Like, you're just gonna, and no one has a rule book. Like, that's why some of these compatibility tests for co-parenting, like maybe if you're gonna like share a life together, that's more important or whatever. But raising a kid together, there are, of course, are deal breakers, but like nobody has like a guidebook on how to raise a kid. Are you kidding me? So like, you just have to, which again is at the end of like, you just have to want the kid to be happy and like, you know, be a team together. But then we'll see. And if it had ended here, it'd be fine. But then they do the thing at the end with the eggs and the mug breaking and all this stuff. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
no,
It's not looking great.
yeah, it's not looking great. Is the end button on that? Oh my god.
Yeah. Because they do like, and I think that's why she's like, you know, stupid technology. Like we had in high schools, like we just took care of an egg. And
Right.
honestly, that probably is a better way to tell if you're compatible because that's like a real life. We're taking care of this thing and it actually puts you in some situations.
Yeah.
Like compared to the compatibility test is just going to be, I feel like they're useful sometimes, but sometimes you answer out of like, oh crap, just the first thing that I see kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So I'm with her.
It's hard. Okay, well now back in Partridge, Leslie is talking to Ben's sister. We're finally meeting some more of Ben's family, because we had talked about how we think he has a brother according to the Unity quilt, but we have never met him.
And I think he mentions a brother when they're selling the lake house.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Well, we meet Stephanie, and I think it's kind of funny that we never really say her name. But her name is on Leslie's binder.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cute. But she's like totally normal. And I will say, first of all, it kind of sucks that they've never met yet, and they're already married.
I
That kind
know.
of sucks. But
I know.
I do get. I guess Ben and Stephanie aren't close as like my. Like, I would want my sister to meet my person maybe before I married them. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe, again, we talked about this last time. Like, maybe the older you get, the more it's not, like, as significant. I don't know. But either way,
I think it
they're
depends
meeting
on the
now.
relationship because I
Yeah.
think even at your age now and my age now, like we're not as young as we once were, obviously, right? And as, like, we're not as fresh out of the house.
Mhm.
Like, but I still feel like you would want Brooklyn to approve and like the person you're marrying.
Yeah. Maybe it would be, like, less significant, but it would still be, like, a thing. I don't
Matter
know.
to you. Yeah. But we talked about this at the engagement party too, that's the first time that she's meeting his parents.
Yeah, which is wild.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah. They need to get out more.
I know, exactly. I think that's what it is, really.
Yeah,
Neither
just so funny
side
all
of
the time.
those people, like the parents or Ben and Leslie, get out of their hometown.
Yeah.
But it's really cute. I think that they did a good job as far as like casting goes. They look pretty similar.
Yep.
They're acting pretty similar. This gal did a great job. Leslie's asking if Ben was bossy and made her watch Star Wars movies, and she's like, "Make me. I love those movies just as much as he did." And then Leslie hugs her, and there's, "Oh, you do a lot of hugging," which is really precious. And I love that his sister calls him Benji. That's really a precious little side note.
That is a really nice little detail that they put in there.
Yeah, because I think his dad called him Benji too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice little family moment.
Yeah.
And then she's saying like a lot of the town jerks thought that he wouldn't show up, which is kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing moment, kind of. And then in true Leslie fashion, she has a binder with all of the questions she wants to ask his sister. Who were Ben's girlfriends in high school, and what base do you think he got to? And she's so serious. She's like really waiting for her answer.
And Ben's sitting there.
Yeah, Ben's like
it's not even girl talk. He's like right there.
Oh my God. It's so hilarious.
Yeah.
But Stephanie, Ben's sister, is played by Annabeth Gish. She's been in a ton of things. The first thing I have to mention is that she was in West Wing, which if you're new here, Mike Sure and the writers are huge fans of West Wing, singular. And Parks is basically the comedy version, they say, of West Wing. So that must have been cool to like talk to her, to have both Bradley Whitford and her on there throughout the course of the series. She was also in Mystic Pizza, the famous movie, and she's in the show Lioness, which is a Nicole Kidman show on Paramount. She was in Succession, Barry, Midnight Mass, a ton of things. She also just won an award for Best Supporting Actress in a movie called Ride, which I believe is also on Paramount. I feel like Paramount, when I look at the the trailer for this movie that she won the award for, it looks very like Western vibes. And I feel like Paramount is really all over the Western thing with Yellowstone and all of their prequels and things like that. They're very into like the pioneer moments, I feel. I don't know. Maybe that's just a random side note, but I just thought that was funny. So well done to Annabeth. Great job.
Love it.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say before we head back to the lawyer's office?
No.
Okay, so Jamm's lawyer is interviewing everyone, and Andy's is first. And honestly, it's really good, I feel, what he says. At first, I forgot kind of what he said, and, you know, I was watching it, and I feel like what he said is accurate. You know, he used appropriate force to prevent further damage to Leslie Knope's wedding.
He should have
Totally
stopped
real.
right there.
Right.
That was good. That was, yeah, and
I
they're
know.
forgetting that he didn't he shove him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they mentioned that, too. Ron says that at the end, too.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, and we're skipping ahead a little bit, but like if you think about it, Jamm was put in jail because he was in the wrong, and the police officer was like, yo, sleep it off, counselor. Like they knew whose fault it was.
Yeah.
So I don't think that this
Is going to go
super
anywhere.
like, you know, legitimate, but I do also feel like lawyers would come back at this, like especially those like injury lawyer people would be like, well, fuck that like cop or whatever happened that night. We need to interview everybody and sue everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's, yeah. And then Andy, it is really sad because if Andy had stopped, it would be perfect, like you said. But he goes on to say, like, just, you know, I wouldn't trust anything or take anything I say too seriously.
Yeah. And they just
Oh,
smile.
Andy.
The lawyer and Jamm just
I do
smile.
like that they're sprinkling that in, that Andy is competent in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because, and I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but I do feel like we haven't really seen it as much as after he lost the police academy exam or whatever, or failed the exam. So I like when he's like talking to Ben about how that, you know, charity thing wouldn't have worked out, and he's very accurate about like it's better in the media, it would help people now, that kind of stuff. And Andy's very wise in that sense, and then he comes in this one and is wise and like accurate. So I think it's kind of a nice reminder to have Andy be like somewhat, you know,
competent. Yeah.
Able.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wonder, did anybody tell him the reason he didn't become a cop? Because he said he botched the brain exam and he didn't. Like he says that's why he's not a cop,
The
because
brain
he bought.
exam is the one where he was testing, like oral exam. I think.
Oh, I thought the brain exam would be like the written versus the personality.
Okay, I think
So
that's what he meant.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm sure, I would assume, I don't know, they didn't show it, but I would assume someone like that one cop explained what happened. So yeah, maybe he was just calling the brain exam the personality. But yeah, you're right. You would think that the brain exam would be the written one, but.
Right. Oh, well.
And then April lies and is like, oh my God, Ronnie? He's so sweet. I've never heard of him threatening anyone. He's like a vegetarian.
Love it.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's.
Not to Ron.
Yeah. That's like
Softy Pants
huge
McHuggable. Huge diss for him, yeah. I love Softy Pants McHuggable. That's really
Me too,
cute.
because it just sounds so weird coming out of her mouth too about Ron.
Yeah, and I think Aubrey does a great job of, you know, her performance here of pretending that she's coming up with this in the moment, because she is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a really nice time for her. And then Tom lies too. And I also kind of love that Tom, I mean, I don't think he's being totally dishonest. The whole thing about Ron not really paying much attention to other people.
Yeah.
And like, I doubt he even knew you existed. That's not a lie.
That is not a lie.
But I mean, however, I mean, the existed part, I guess the second part really is a lie, because then it shows all the flashbacks of Ron
Who is
clearly
that?
knowing
I'd like to punch
who
him.
Jamm is. And then he compliments the pocket square on the lawyer suit, which I think the lawyer liked.
Yes. Yeah, that was a nice little sugar on top for the cherry on top for the lawyer.
Right. And then Ron has his talking head and is like, I hate lying. And the only thing he hates more than lying is skim milk, which is
My
milk.
favorite line. I love
Is
so
it?
much. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. No, that's it, which is milk that's lying about being milk.
It's water that's lying about
Water
being
that's
milk.
lying. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I love that line so much. I don't know why, but it makes me laugh so hard every time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Ron. Well, the lawyer for Jamm, Paul, is played by Bill Dwyer. He's been in a lot of shows that I like. He was in Space Force, Loot, The Middle, the Larry Sanders Show, Hot in Cleveland with Betty White. I feel like he looks familiar, but I don't know exactly where I've seen him. But he's also a writer, which is super cool. So I've probably seen him in a lot of these different shows. Also, side note, he hosts something according to his Instagram, he hosts something called Battle Bots in Las Vegas every weekend, and I feel like it's like a robot fighting situation. So I'll have to ask him about that. That's what it says on his Instagram. So I'll have to ask him about that. I wonder if he lives there.
He's got to every weekend. That's quite a commitment.
Yeah, totally. So I actually did reach out to him, and he messaged back and said that he was going to send in a voice memo, but he couldn't get it to us before the deadline. So we'll do that for next episode. He seems very nice, and I'll tag him in all of the, show notes and Instagram and everything.
Yay.
All right. Well, back in Partridge, Leslie is crying because Ben is practicing his speech. And I do love that she's like, I think about America and where our future.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
I think most of what they've done in the last year or two, right, has been for Leslie. And so I think she's getting this moment to be his support where he's been for her, like through the campaign and everything. And like she's coming all out, like with all the emotions.
Yeah, it's really nice to see him kind of bring this back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, oh my gosh, then we get like the kind of emergency thing going on where he says he feels sweaty and he keeps going to the bathroom, and they think it's just because he's nervous about the ceremony. But then we learn that, we hear a fall and a groan, and Ben is in pain. Something bad is happening. He's on the floor. He said he thinks he's giving birth.
That's not possible, right?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Also, side note, I did make a note because I was noticing Ben's sister's outfit, and I do feel like, similar vein to them being, good casting for siblings. I was like, I feel like she's wearing what Ben would wear if he was a woman.
Yeah, absolutely. She's got like that sweater over the button down, right?
Yeah, and khakis, and I just feel like it's totally Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. On par.
Yeah. Well, then we learn that Ben has a kidney stone. That's why he feels like he's giving birth.
Yep.
They're at the hospital in town, and they're going to have to keep him there until he passes it, which means that he will have to miss the ceremony, sadly.
Yeah.
I love Ben on painkillers. This is my favorite Adam Scott moment, I think, maybe in the whole series. I just think he's so funny in this.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Because most of the time, and I think this is totally valid, and we need the straight man. But like most of the time with Ben's comedy, even in Step Brothers, as much as you want to like disagree, even in Step Brothers and stuff, he's playing the straight man kind of to the other people's crazy. And like in Step Brothers, he does have his crazy vibe. Like I get it. Like he's whatever. Catherine Hahn's kind of a straight man, honestly, in that too. But I feel like a lot of Adam Scott's comedy in like Party Down and even in Parks is like you're playing the straight guy to everyone else's, and that's sometimes that's really hard to do. Yeah. And so I love seeing him not be the straight man and kind of flipping the script where Amy or Leslie is like the like straight man where she's like okay just don't touch sharp things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's
so
nice to see.
Yeah, so accurate. And he has fun with it. You could see he's having fun with it.
Totally.
Like,
and I love the makeup or whatever they did to make him look all sweaty and like his circles under his eyes. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. They did a great job.
Yes. And speaking of other things I love, oh my gosh, The World's Colliding with Leslie and Dr. Clipperton. I love Dr. Clipperton. He is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That line reading of like, he's on morphine. Good stuff.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. He's like how Dr. Harris is very unique. He's also very unique because I feel like a lot of shows where you see the doctor, they're just blah, right?
Yeah.
But they like add character to the scene.
Yeah.
Like they're not just there for information. They're there for comedy too. I love it.
Yeah. And he's calling him Icetown too because he remembers him. This doctor also, we have to pour one out because he passed away in 2022. It's very sad.
That is really sad.
But what a legacy. I looked him up. His name is Wolf Muser, and he was a legend. He was known for MacGyver, Alias, The Man in the High Castle, 5 episodes of Adam Ruins Everything, which I love that show. I kind of miss that show.
Yeah, I love Adam Ruins Everything.
And And also he had a lot of deleted scenes, and I did want to play one for not a lot. He had like 2 deleted scenes, and I wanted to play one for you because I just think it's really funny. And he's kind of being serious about something that's not serious, or like whatever. You'll hear it.
Is there anything you can do?
We could cut his penis off. Only kidding. It's very rare that we have to do that.
Okay, why don't I take...
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
Oh my
Do
gosh.
you see what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
like being like just like the morphine.
It's so
good
dry.
stuff.
Yeah.
So dry. It's so funny. I don't know. And the other deleted scene is him saying that he should stay there for a couple of hours after he passes it. This was like, Ben's fixed, but he should stay there for a couple of hours just because he's going to be sore and everything. But then Leslie's like, no, we really have to go. And he's like, okay, well, he's still going to be sore down there, so take it easy on him. And then he winks at her. Oh my
Oh my
like,
gosh.
It didn't feel, well, to me, it didn't feel creepy like on the outside. I'm sure if I was in that situation, it would have been creepy, like if I was Leslie. But watching it was just so funny. And I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this actor. It's so funny.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
So
I
had to
can't.
bring that up.
I wonder if that's why she said stay away from sharp things.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God. I love this too because I will say, okay, I'm kind of like changing subjects, but still in the same realm. Ben being on drugs and everything, he says like, do you have any idea how beautiful you are? And like is being really sweet with her. And I don't know, I feel like I love this because I feel like Leslie is always so open and talking about how cute she thinks Ben is and how like smart and funny and all the things, because Leslie is just so used to saying all those things and she's comfortable with it. But I don't always feel like I hear Ben say that out loud. I know that.
Yeah.
And we can get that energy, and he says it to maybe Chris and stuff, but I love seeing him be like lovey-dovey with her and like, you're my snuggerdoodle, you're like such a pretty flower. Like it's just so cute
so
to me.
open and vulnerable.
Yes, I just love it. And the whole like love is everywhere, you just have to surrender to the universe.
The universe. He mentions the universe several times.
Yes. And I love that he cries because he's watching The Price is Right, and he remembers staying at home sick from school watching The Price is Right, and he gets really nostalgic. Oh my God. It's just like, it's so good. The writing on that and Ben's or Adam's acting on that was just so good. What a great combination.
This whole part, it's just so good.
And he like covers his hand as he's crying. It's just like, it's so funny. I love it so much. Okay. Well, now we are back where Chris and Anne are talking about the compatibility test, and they're just talking about how it was sucky. I think this is the part where they're in the courtyard, and she's like, there's other ways to see if we're going to be good parents. Like, it's not a big deal. And so Anne brings back her idea of taking care of an egg for the day, and it turns out she forgot them at Kroger. She abandoned her babies at the Kroger.
At a Kroger.
And then he says, we can use anything for a baby. Chris is like, we could use this mug. And then he picks up the mug and it breaks. And back to your thesis, basically, it's not looking great.
Yeah. That's the most simple way we can put it.
Right. It's very
and I just want to know why.
awkward.
Why are we getting so many signals that they shouldn't be doing this?
Yeah. 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 It's a
It
little
doesn't
weird.
help us as an audience, like, grasp onto the idea of it.
Right. Right. Agreed. Well, anyhow. Back at the lawyer's office, Ron is like, you guys all lied. You have to tell the truth. Like, you should take a note from Andy because he told the truth even when it was humiliating for him.
Yep.
And also, what is this whole Tom moment? Like, is he actually, when he says, like, him lying to get on an Indian game show and make it on the streets of Bombay with his, like, lover, Latika?
I think
That was really cute, but is that I guess that's a lie, too?
Yeah, I think he's playing off of the Slumdog Millionaire.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what he's saying. I never
Okay.
saw that movie, so I can't confirm, like, for sure, but that's, I think, what he's
totally
doing.
would make sense. That is what that is. I didn't even think about that. That is the plot line of that movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
It
what I
just seemed
think
really
he's doing.
random.
Yeah, it's very random.
Anyway, so Ron is like, you have to tell them the truth. I'm going to call them back in. Andy tries to imitate Ron, which I think is really cute, with like his hands in his pants or whatever, which I don't think Ron should be doing that anyways, but
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. I've seen people do that
Feels
before.
weird.
It's uncomfortable.
yeah, feels weird. But it's definitely Ron. So now we're at the ceremony. And JK Simmons is here. I love JK Simmons. Oh my God.
And if you don't know who JK Simmons is, you've been living under a rock.
He's the best. Oh my God. So good. Side note, he is in. Did you watch the Christmas movie that him and The Rock were in? New that
No.
last year?
No.
Oh my God.
Is it
I
good?
think it's going to be in my regular rotation. I did not
Oh,
anticipate
yay.
it. It's called Red One, I think, like Air Force One, but Red One for Santa or whatever.
Oh,
And-
I saw that, but I didn't watch
And
it.
the whole premise is that The Rock is the bodyguard / security for Santa.
Okay.
And I just feel like they had so many cool ideas that I wouldn't have thought about, like about Christmas, as far as like how he gets, all the presents in through the chimney, and also how Santa is actually like really fit because he has to be like jumping around and running around all night, and how he works out, but also how he like carbo loads with candy and cookies and stuff. And
That's
it's just
so
like,
funny.
it's really cute. I thought it was really, I loved it. And Lucy Liu is in it, our queen.
Yes.
She's so good. And I was really into it. So, and then by the end, there was this whole like story of like seeing kids and seeing adults as like, their inner child kind of vibes. And I don't know. It was just really good. And JK Simmons plays Santa. So it's so good.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll have to watch that next year.
Yeah, totally. And if you watch, regular TV, he's also in the Farmers Insurance commercials as well. He's
Yes.
in Whiplash. You know him. He's fantastic. So anyway, I think and then on the backstory of him getting it, because I think he was doing really well, I feel, before Parks and everything. So I think it kind of ended up being like a Christy Brinkley type of situation where they were like a Christy Brinkley type or a JK Simmons type. And then lo and behold, they randomly
just happened.
asked, and they were like, oh my God, guess what? Like we got him,
Yeah. So impactful.
Yeah, super cool. And anyway, so J.K. Simmons is playing the mayor, and he's like, "How do you really expect me to believe that he's actually sick?" Like, and then Leslie took a video to prove it. Most definitely high. There's no way that he's not high.
Yeah. There's no way.
I love Fred the Sled, the town mascot, and Ben is like, "Oh my God, they're doing all of this for me. The universe is love." And then this is where the stay away from sharp things
Makes me
comes
so
from.
sad.
I know, it is
Aw.
so sad when you think about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's so excited. I think it's like a blessing that he couldn't be there.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Like-
It worked out for the best for sure.
Yeah.
Leslie handled it, I think, a little bit better than maybe he would have.
Yeah.
Who knows, though? There should be an alternate writing where we learn how he would have handled it.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Anyhow, okay, so back at the lawyer's testimony thing, Tom recants his story, and it's really bad. He's like, which time? When the lawyer asks, like, did you hear that Ron wanted to harm or punch Jamm? And this is where all the flashbacks come in. And I just love how happy Ron is about, like, daydreaming of punching
Yeah.
Jamm.
I know. It's so funny. But it's fair. Like, Jam's awful.
He is. And he does. That line of, like, he looks like he could use a swift punch to the face is so real to me. Especially, like, oh my gosh. It is funny that he uses this word, but, like, it's such a douchey thing to use yabos for boobs.
So weird.
And it's such a douchey, like, thing that I feel if I was Ron, I'd be like, yeah, he could really use a punch to the face. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're back at the Partridge ceremony. We learn the whole thing was a hoax to get him there, make fun of him. The sign says Ice Clown, not Ice Town. The mayor's talking about how Ben made the town a festering wound, and Leslie at first thinks it's a mistake, like a legitimate, oopsie, but it was planned this way. It was a setup.
Yeah. It's so
and then
sad.
it sounds, it really
like,
is sad.
I feel like you see Ice Clown. My immediate thought would be like, oh no. But she's like optimistic about it. Hey,
I
you
know.
spelled it wrong.
Yeah, I know. Then a townsperson, oh my gosh, these townspeople are so freaking hilarious to me. I think they did a great job. And they say, hey, one of them says, hey, aren't you his sister? And then Stephanie, the sister, runs away because it's just too painful. And she doesn't want to be made fun of. Like, I can't even imagine, like, the stuff that she went through too as like a relative of Ben, which sucks.
It does suck that she runs away. Like if he was there physically, like I would hope that she would stay with him. But like, Leslie can hold her own and it's not like directly jabbed at her. But I also get it because she has to live there.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Ben's moved away.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God. Good luck, Leslie. She says she runs away. And then the key to the town is water because it was made of ice, aka Ice Town. Like everything is just such a gut punch.
Yeah. So
Um,
tough.
And then Leslie, I mean, I feel like this is where Leslie kind of shines because she is really good at making passionate speeches and sticking up for people that she loves. She's like, you know what, Pawnee, I'm from Pawnee. We came all the way down here, a city with some class, by the way, which honestly, I think it's hilarious because if that's not true.
Yes, so not true.
Well, I mean, it's true, but it's like it's hypocritical of her the way that she treats Eagleton. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Eagleton doesn't have class either. They kind of deserve a lot of what they're getting too. So I don't know. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, everybody has their problems. But the it's like because we hit a point where there's a whole float with her face and she's doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Like they don't have more class.
Yeah, that's a way better like description or illustration of how they don't have class either. Every town has their little like okay,
their thing.
Sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But anyhow, she's being a great partner. She's sticking up for her husband and saying that he made an honest mistake 20 years ago and that Ben is the best thing to come out of Partridge. And then this is where we learn that the townsperson says Judy Garland lived there for a while. Lee Jansen. I don't know what it is. I really wish I could speak to her, but this townsperson, it just makes me laugh. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's a golfer. Like he's pretty good.
The only golfer I know is Tiger Woods. Like
I know.
So that's not going to impress me.
I know. Okay, I did want to mention the guy. Well, I mentioned both of them, but I have something about the guy. The guy who plays the one who says the Judy Garland lived there for a little while. He is played by Jesse Mackey, and he's been in a ton of stuff: Grey's Anatomy, 911, SWAT, 2.5 Men, the reboot of Saved by the Bell. But he was also in The Office, and that is where I remember his face. I was like, he looks so familiar. Why do I remember him? And he is just labeled as jumpsuit guy. Do you want to try to guess? He doesn't have any lines.
Jumpsuit guy?
Yeah.
He doesn't have any lines, you said?
It's at a gas station. If that helps you.
Is it when what's his face? When Michael gets left at the gas station?
Yeah.
Because Jim has to go get the baby.
Yes, John Krasinski. Yeah, Jim has to go get the baby, and he's like, hey, there's a guy in the stall. Can you just let him know that I had to go? There's an emergency. Just call the office, whatever. And the jumpsuit guy is like, there's nobody in there.
Hello?
He's not coming out. Like, yeah. Oh, does he
I think
say
he
hello?
does say hello.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's him. And I was like, oh, my God, that makes so much sense. And
Love
hilarious. So then he just drives away. So he did a great job, too. But I just love that both of these townspeople are like kind of sputtering, but they're going to stick up for their town no matter what, just like Leslie would do, which is the ironic part of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I do wonder, like, if there was the equivalent of a Ben in Pawnee, like, would Leslie be sticking up for that person? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Great question. I think it would depend on who they are as a person.
Yeah, that's true. And I talk about this a little bit later, and I'll just say it now since we're on the topic. But a part of me wonders, like, did Ben ever, like, say sorry or anything? Because he's done so many wonderful things, like Leslie says. Like, he has done so much to make sure that he is better at business and politics and government and all these things, and, like, has had so many great achievements. And I just wonder if, like, in his growth, if he was ever like, you know what? Sorry, Partridge. I fucked up. I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. Was he trying? I wonder, because he didn't really, I don't think he said that in his speech that he practiced with Leslie. So, and I'm not saying that it was all his fault. Like we talked about that. He had adults that probably could have, helped in some way. But I do wonder, like, if this was my town, I was just trying to think, if this was my town, if they just ran away and made other towns better instead of, like, saying, you know what, I fucked up and I was a kid, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I kind of wanted him to do that.
Yeah. I don't think we have any
closure.
I don't think we have any closure on that. And I wonder if maybe that was part of his speech that we didn't hear.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I hope it was.
Yeah. I hope so
Because
too.
he was really nice about Partridge in his speech that we did here, I feel, as far as like,
Yeah.
this is my hometown and no matter where I go, this is where I'm from kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. These fond memories from there other than Icetown.
Right. So anyhow. Oh yeah, and the gal that says the golfer line is named Andy Bolt, and she's a writer, actress, producer. Looks like a lot of UCB credits and short films. She was really awesome,
Cool.
as we know. And then as Leslie runs away, she's like, and a sled is a stupid mascot.
I kind of agree with her. Like,
It's so funny.
it's cute for their town, but it's also like
I
that
know,
one.
I need to
it's not
ask.
a
I
winner.
don't think we have a mascot like my hometown. Not that we're like, I don't even know if we're the same size as Pawnee. We might be even smaller, but I don't know. I don't know if we have. Do you guys have like any sort of mascot?
The only thing I could think of is like for our sports teams. Like we had
Oh,
a
sure.
minor league hockey, and we had a double AAA baseball team.
Okay.
And so like we had a little Dalmatian
Oh,
was
cute.
our logo for that, I think. But
Because
yeah.
I think about like so many people, like real people outside of the show, like audience members, relate to Lil Sebastian because there are these town mascots that people are obsessed with and really look at as, pillars of the community.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cute. So I don't know. I'll have to ask my mom if there ever was one.
Yeah. I think Prescott would consider there's a juniper tree that
Aw.
people put ornaments on every Christmas, and they put pictures of loved ones out there on that tree.
That's
Like I think
cute.
that would be Prescott's
Like
mascot if I would have to
thing.
come up with one. But
Yeah.
Peoria, where I like in Illinois, where I lived, like it was our sports teams, but we didn't have like a city one.
Yeah.
Cute though.
Well, if you guys have any mascots, let us know. I'd love to hear them
Yes.
all. Okay. So now we're back at the lawyer's office. April is telling the truth about punching Jamm in the face as well. And then this is where Ron makes his statement and tells his truth that Jamm attacked him first. He was just defending himself. Jamm attacked him like twice, I think, like pushed him twice before. And he warned him to
He did.
stop. And he was completely belligerent. And he was like, I regret nothing. And honestly, same.
Yeah, for real. Like he
Like-
had it coming for months.
Yes, 100%. All right, so now at the hospital, Ben has been released. He's taken his meds. He asks to see the key. He's like so excited, and he's like, "Oh my god, let me see it. How was it?" And then Leslie's like, "It's just a metaphor. It doesn't really mean anything." And Ben figures out that it was a setup and that
Yeah.
the town's never going to get over it. It's a lost cause essentially. And this is where I wrote the note of like, she's right. He has worked really hard to like make amends. He's come so far in his career and his character and everything. But I just wonder if
Yeah.
he ever like mentioned that to the town. But anyway, Leslie wants to go and get the key anyway. So they're going to City Hall. Tuck in your shirt. We're going to City Hall.
Yeah.
Okay. So now Ann and Chris are talking to the fertility lady, and she says they didn't do amazing for the compatibility test. And the lady, oh my god, they do all the questions of like religion, gender, whatever. And she's like, "Do you guys even know each other? Like, is this one of those Craigslist
Yeah.
situations?" Bummer.
Yeah, huge bummer. Like I also wonder if this is like something they have to do in order to get the insemination improved. Like seems
I still
interesting.
feel like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Is it? We'd have to. I know a lot of people that did IVF, but that's different. So I'm just like, I wonder who. I don't know if I could ask anyone. But I feel like this is more of like the services that they provide. I don't know if it's like you have to ace this in order
Yeah.
to do it. You know what I
Fair.
mean? Because technically it's like a medical procedure. It's like, I don't know. Whatever. I just feel like at this point they're forcing it, and I hate it a little
Yeah.
bit.
I agree. I think they are forcing it. I think there could have been a really beautiful natural progression to them finding their way back to each other after having all their soul searching and dating around. And it just kind of got flubbed by all this.
Yeah.
So don't love it.
Anyway.
And
I know.
and like you don't have to be like you don't have to agree on literally everything. Like the reason parents can do well together is because they balance each other out and they communicate with each other, right? And I think they're good at communicating, but they're not even communicating. Like, I think if they actually sat down and had the conversations, they'd be
That's
good at it.
true.
But they're not even talking about it, which is why when she asks all these questions, they don't have the same answers.
That's true. That's a really good point. They didn't even talk about it themselves before they decided this. That's true.
Which is big, because I am someone who I'm pretty into prepping. So we did a lot of prepping, and obviously Ivan and I were together years before we had Killian, so we had a lot of these conversations ahead of time. But there were some things that I was like, we'll just figure this out when he's here. And I kind of wish we had talked about it, because once they're here, you're like living it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't just like, okay, well, now we have a kid, now we should probably talk about it. Like,
I know. Well, and that's the hard balance too, because there's so many things that you can't plan for.
true.
You
true.
know?
Yeah.
But, and also, I mean, the questions that this lady's asking them as far as gender, religion, all that other stuff, it's like those things really, truly, I mean, they're important. If they're a deal breaker for the parent, then okay, maybe that's conversation. But I don't think it's like a deal breaker for like most mature adults. It's just like however they feel about stuff.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's really important. Like, I want my kid being raised going to church or
Yeah.
going to my hometown church or whatever it is. So like that's a conversation that needs to be had probably. But for Chris and Anne, I feel like it's more of just like, where are we personally kind of thing. So like those questions aren't as pertinent probably as other questions, of like financial, handlings and things like that. So, but it is, I don't know. It's just a bummer to see, I guess.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, side note, the fertility lady is played by Emily Spivey, who, oh my gosh, queen among queens. She's an awesome comedy writer. She wrote on SNL with Amy
I was
and
going to
Tina.
say that name sounds really familiar.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Which, side note, so excited to watch SNL 50th reunion. If you haven't watched the documentary
Yes.
of the music one and the like regular SNL, it's like a mini series.
So good. Oh
It's
my
on
gosh.
Peacock, which you should have for Parks and Rec. So it is so wonderful.
I wanted to text you as I was watching it, but it was really late. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that Holly's watched this, because it's so good. The 5-minute one I thought you would really like about the auditions.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Crazy.
And then I loved the writer's room one, like learning how the
Yeah.
writers process and all that worked. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. I haven't seen the music one yet, so I want to watch that before I watch the replay
was
of the
really good.
concert from last night.
Yeah.
But I do plan to watch the anniversary show tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So
Well, and
exciting.
they've already been releasing clips. I don't know exactly how it works, because they've already been releasing, like, people came back and did stuff already. So I don't know if I think they have like extra viewings of stuff or recordings of stuff or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. And SNL is insane. It feels like one of the most like amazing things, but like literally one of the hardest things and like pressure inducing things I've ever witnessed, like talking to writers and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's I don't even know how you get through that. It seems intense, and it's just like every week you're
Yeah.
doing it. It's like you don't get a break, really.
No, well, one of the writers even said, like, this is working here has been the highest high of my life,
Right.
and the lowest low for my
And my mental
health.
health has never been worse.
Yeah, yeah. And
I think that is the greatest way to say it. And when I was watching, like, Amy Poehler was interviewed for her audition and Tina for writing and all these things, and I think you have to have a certain competitiveness about you if
Oh,
you
yeah.
are in SNL. Like, I don't think with all the interviews that I've seen of Tina, especially I would say as a writer, like, I think she's way more like hardcore than people think that she
Absolutely.
is. Like, she is competitive. She is like ready to get the fucking work done, and she doesn't care what's like kind of standing in her way. She's just gonna do it. And I don't feel like Amy is as intense, I want to say.
Yeah.
And I don't want to use the word intense, because when people say that about women, they like assume that they're like mean or whatever. But so I hope that that's not what's coming off. But she seems like she's like competitive, and she's like ready to fight for her work.
Well, and
and
I
I'm
think-
just like, that's such an interesting layer that I don't think a lot of people see from Tina.
Right. Well, and I think you look at the two of them, right? They're both incredibly intelligent, incredibly funny. But I think I look at Amy more as the character, as the actress, as the putting a life on screen person. Not that that's not as competitive, but I think the writing portion was where you'd really have to fight to get your stuff in. And
Yeah.
Tina fits that bill a little bit more. I think she's more the writer than the actress.
Yeah. I know, and I do wonder, I mean, because Amy wrote a lot too, which is so
Yeah.
wild. But yeah, I mean, that's why I love them doing Weekend Update together, because I think that they did such a good job of
Balance each other out really
doing
well.
that together, just being partners, you know, like, and I don't know if I'd even say balancing, because like they don't need a balance. I just want them to each be themselves.
True.
And just like be on completely opposite ends of the earth, whatever. Their comedy just like goes so well together. They just need to be partners, whatever. Oh my God, they're on tour right now. They're doing like a bajillion shows at the Beacon Theater, and I just really want to go. I haven't even looked up tickets because I'm like, I can't do it right now, but hopefully they'll do it again at some point. They do like sketch parts, and they do stand-up parts, and it sounds like a true variety show, and I don't know, I might have to splurge on it. I'll see how long they're on tour, because I also want to go see Cowboy Carter. Which honestly, that might be even more impossible, so we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm so sorry.
Nope.
I just had to talk about that because Emily Spivey, back to her,
Yes.
was an SNL gal, but she also co-wrote Wine Country, you know, the one that Amy Poehler directed / was also in with all the SNL people. And Emily Spivey has also wrote the Eagleton episode on Parks. So like that, it's just a great comedy trio of women right there. So love it very much.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so they're all wondering what to do about Ron and Jamm. April and Tom are trying to figure out how to get back at them, or how to get back at Jamm, essentially. So they're trying to figure that out. That was just a quick cut. And then the next cut is at Partridge City Hall, which I think a lot of people really love this, when Ben is feeding the eagle that is Bronze, because he just took his morphine pills.
So funny.
Oh my
I love it.
I'm feeding your eagle. He's starving. It's
so matter of fact. Like,
yeah.
What do you think I'm doing?
I know, and I love I don't know if it was a written or improv. It's probably written, but when Ben says why instead of like, what do you mean? You know, when she's like, babe, it's Bronze. Why? Like, why is it Bronze? Or we don't even know what he's asking why for. It's just so funny.
So good.
But, well, she goes, basically, she says, like, just give us the key to the town privately so that no one will know your shame. Because, no offense to Ben, because he's like, if anyone found out, and I would never get reelected. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so, which is really sad. But so then they just leave because the Bronze Eagle is getting to be too much. And also, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he needs the key. I mean, I guess it would have been a nice closure, but like, we don't need it, you know?
Yeah, he's successful in his new place. He's going to be just fine. Like,
but I understand why Leslie wants it, because it is a little bit of like, she's fighting for him to get like closure and acceptance in a way.
Yeah, that's symbolic.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so now Chris comes up with another compatibility test, which is really sweet, actually. This is nice. And he's basically asking, like, will you love our kid or not? Essentially, like, will you love and make sure they get everything they need and all the things? And Chris is like, really, that's all that matters, which is true. It is. In a sense, I think there's a little bit more that matters, but like, you know, they would do it together well as a partnership. And that is nice. I do think that it's nice that Chris is taking the lead on like making sure they feel comfortable and whatever. I don't know how to like say this delicately, because I just love this show so much, but I don't like this line. I hate when he puts his hand on her belly. I hate it. I don't know why. It just grits my nerves. But it is funny that, I mean, it's a nice breaking the tension of like, you know, there's nothing in there though, right?
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I just always like, well, first of all, people will touch your stomach without asking when you're pregnant. And it's one of the most invasive and rude things to me personally, because I'm not a very touchy person. If I know you and I love you, I will hug you all day long and touch you and all the stuff. But like, if I don't know you or I've known you for a month, like, why are you touching me? Like, gross. Ivan would touch my stomach, right? He's the dad. But like when I was showing, and when we were at home. It was never like out in public, and I don't know. So I'm with you. I was just I'm very uncomfortable watching that, especially because they're not romantically evolved yet. So that's also like another piece of it that's kind of like, okay, buddy, can you not touch me? Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's just weird. A part of me wonders, like, as I analyze this, I'm trying to think of like ways that I would have been like okay with it. And this is like any show, though. No matter what you do, like, not everybody's gonna be happy. So, like, I'm sure
Yeah.
some people liked this storyline. According to the internet, from what I've posted, not many people did, but. Who's to say? But like, it kind of reminds me of like, and I know that we're like anti JK Rowling right now, but like when people were saying that Harry Potter could have been like 20-hour movies and we would have watched it because we just love it so much.
Yeah.
And then I remember her and Daniel Radcliffe saying like, and they still would have found something wrong with it. And that's so true. So
Yeah.
like, I was trying to think, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because I'm like, I was trying to think of like what situation would I have been comfortable with them having a baby together, or Anne herself just having a baby. And I think that there's always going to be flaws, but maybe it would have been cool if like they could have taken this time to maybe get them back together. And then they like start talking about it. Maybe that would have been weird too, but they just kind of flipped the script a little bit weirdly.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think, a reminder that episode after she watches Diane's kids and is not good with them, the very next episode is when she says, I've been wanting to be a mom kind of thing. Like that, I don't think that was supposed to be in order. It wasn't supposed to be so fast, but I still think the whole season, like it was strange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either way, doesn't matter. It's happening now, and that's that. But I do wish there was some explanation about like how we went from sperm donor to parent,
Yeah.
But it's okay. What are you gonna do?
This is where we live now, though.
Yeah, this is the reality that we live in. I wonder, I don't know, do you feel like you would have felt better too if they had like kind of been a couple first and then done it? Or like I would have been okay with him just being a sperm donor. I would have been totally fine with that. Him just being a sperm donor.
Yeah.
Why they have to, but I know that they were both getting written off the show, so like I get that.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you. I would have been totally fine if he was just the sperm donor. But then, like you were saying earlier, then we have the trickiness of if they're both still going to live in Pawnee, how does that work? Which they probably wouldn't have because they would have been written out anyway, right? I don't know. I think I probably would have. I would have probably felt better about it if they had started showing interest in each other before all of this baby stuff, just because it seems so out of left field. Like the last time he asked if she was interested was last season, right? And then they kind of left it. And
yeah.
And honestly, you disagree with me, obviously, if you don't agree, but it kind of seemed like, okay, I feel like I'm in a healthy place now to be in a relationship, and I want to be, and Anne's right here. Not like I'm driven to be with Anne kind of thing.
Right.
And so, yeah, I would have liked to see some of their chemistry come back. I would have liked to see some interest. And then, a couple episodes later, she's like, oh, I really want to have a kid, and then it made more sense. Or even if they were together and they decided we're in a place in our life to have a kid. I don't know. It just feels very, very forced. And when they decide to have the baby naturally, like not to, give too much away, most people have seen it, but, when they decide to have it naturally and then be a couple, I'm like, why and when? And the compatibility just wasn't there for me anymore like it was in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, and it's tricky because I don't want to fall into the trap of like you have to be together before you have a baby
right.
Which I don't think you're saying either, but it's like that's the whole like layer of it all, where it's just like these two characters have such a weird twisted thing. So like it would have, and I mean, I know this has been done before in shows before, aka Ross and Rachel, but I was almost thinking like when I was analyzing it, maybe they have maybe he's just a sperm donor. Obviously that's not a Ross and Rachel thing, but like
right.
They had the baby before they're like into each other, right? And then as they are raising this kid together, they're like, oh gosh, maybe I'm catching feelings because we're like raising this kid, or I have to like sometimes see this kid and I want to like maybe be more involved, like on the part of Chris, like. And then Anna's like, well, you can come over whenever you want, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just, I know that we could talk till we're blue in the face, but it's just like, it's weird to me.
I agree. Yeah, and
So,
I'm glad that we agree with this because I've literally since we talked about them dating originally, I've
Yeah.
literally been sitting here and I'm like, I know how I feel about this.
yeah.
And we're either going to be on the same page or we're going to have some very interesting heated arguments about it.
Yeah, totally. And I have to say, just from listening to the Parks and Recollection podcast, we're not the only ones. They haven't talked about it since the I want to be a mom thing, which is, you know, when they first said like this was out of left field.
Yeah.
Now they are just kind of like moving past it, I feel, but they even said that was kind of weird, you know, to have
Yeah.
her be like. And I will say I feel like a lot of shows do this. Like I was watching Scrubs because that's one of my like background shows, and I will say shows do this frequently with women. They like will write that they don't want to be a mom, or that they're not good with kids, and then like 2 episodes later they're like, I want a baby, I need a baby, and I'm just like, literally, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like they did that with Elliot on Scrubs, where she was like, I'm not good with kids, I have to hold this kid's hand, this like kid of a patient or something like that, and then like later they'd be like, I really want a baby, and I'm like, is it because the women want a baby but not a kid? Like they just want a baby, like an infant,
Yeah.
but they can't deal with toddlers? Like what the fuck?
Yeah, because then
it
you
just
shouldn't
feels
be
like a
having the
really
kid.
shallow thing to have a woman just have interest in a baby out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, especially after saying you're not good with a kid. Because
yeah, it just feels really stupid to me. And I'm not trying to be on like a feminist soapbox. I just don't get it because I've seen it in so many shows, and I'm just like, you guys, this isn't. I think pregnancies, but I will say pregnancies and parenthood and stuff are really good plot lines a lot of the times, and a lot of like shock and drama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that could be a thing. But anyway, moving on. Not really. We'll be talking about this for the end of the show.
Until the end of the season at least.
Yes. Oh my god. Okay. So, where do we even really leave off? Yeah, will you love the kid or not? Okay. So now Tom and April and Andy go to Jamm to get him to drop the suit, and they found lies in his affidavit. Plus, they stage an attack, and like Tom pretends to hurt his wrist. April says they have witnesses. Andy is freaking out because he doesn't know if Tom is actually hurt. Are you okay?
You can't give Andy too much information ahead of time.
Totally. I think it's also really funny because I don't think that I actually recognized or remembered that there were lies in the affidavit. I think when I was watching this, I forgot about that part. I thought it was just the attack, and that's why he dropped it, but the lies in the affidavit makes more sense.
Yeah.
So, I do love that Andy carries Tom out, like a little baby.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Oh yeah, we got jammed. Jamm has to say that to himself, which is kind of a nice burn.
I love it.
All right, so now we are at the lake in Partridge. Leslie has stolen the key from the mayor's office because, like, forget that guy. You deserve it.
Yeah.
And then this is what we were talking about a little bit before, where Ben realizes he doesn't really need it or want it, honestly. Pawnee is his town. He's made his bed, and he's, like, ready to sleep in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really... He's moved on at the end of the day. I don't think that he should have thrown it in the lake. I don't think that it feels like littering.
I agree with you.
I do get that it's symbolic. I do get that.
Yep. Again, some symbolism for him. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, no, like we could have done something else to like.
And I'm also wondering, like, from a logistics standpoint, this is so, again, I'm getting too deep with it, but like from a logistics standpoint, filming wise, like what did they throw in the lake? Because you're not supposed to throw stuff in the lake. So like, I wonder what did they go back and fish it out? Or
I'm sure that's probably what they did.
Yeah. Or was it something that like was degradable maybe?
It could be. That's so much effort though. I feel like it takes less time to fish it out than come up with
I don't know.
Biodegradable option.
Anyway, so the park ranger sees him throwing this in the lake and is like, hey, the lake is in a garbage can, pal. And then he recognizes that it's Ben. Icetown, is that you? Oh my God. And then so they run away. Also, I have to say, oh my God, I feel so bad because I feel like I'm just shitting on everything, which I'm not. I'm not. And maybe I guess I am 5%, but I really don't mean to. But I find that I don't, and it's not just this show, I don't think. I think I'm just noticing it more because I'm analyzing this one. But I find that the technique, or like whatever you want to call it, for whenever they have characters just run away from a scene because it's like awkward or weird, or they just want to run away, and like Anne does it, they make Anne do it all the time, like
Yeah,
run.
I know. I hate that.
I don't like it, and I think it depends, obviously it depends on like the scene, but I feel like it's a cop out, and I don't get it. So I don't like when they run away, and I understand why they did for this one in particular, but I feel like it's been a thing that they've been doing lately, and again, like I said, a lot of shows do it. It's not just me, or not just Parks, but yeah.
I think it works once, but I think if somebody keeps doing it, and it just doesn't, for me, like maybe it's because I also personally like relate to Anne, is like it just doesn't feel like her vibe to give up on stuff.
Yeah. Again, like you said, not all the time. Like maybe once or twice or whatever. Like when she runs away after the Purd thing, like Purd being there while she says or like when what does she do? The sperm donor thing. Like when you talk about the naturally thing, the sperm donor thing, when she throws the sperm cup and she's like, run. No, it's not. No. It's just like, it doesn't feel right.
She's also a nurse. Like, so she understands to a degree, like what these people do for work. Like,
so fair.
Just doesn't feel right.
Yes. Yeah, it feels really weird. But anyway, I had to bring that up, and I'm sorry, but
yeah, no, I'm glad you did.
Just lastly, before we close out, this park ranger is played by Clark Freeman, and he's been in a lot of things. Looks like a lot of different NCIS shows, Hawaii, NCIS New Orleans, a lot of really cool-looking short films, which is super cool. He's also from Chicago, so that's fun.
Yeah,
wonder if he knew anybody. And I feel like, oh gosh, it was either him or the subpoena guy. I think it was him, this park ranger fellow, that his agents messaged me back about sending in a thing, but he wasn't a voice memo, but he wasn't able to get it in time. So I'll have to follow up with him. But yeah, so well done to everybody, and that was Partridge.
Yay.
Super fun. Glad that you could be here for it.
Yes, me too. So happy to be here.
We're getting into it, man. We're almost closing out season 5. I mean, not really, but kind of.
Yeah. We're getting there.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be sad when Leslie doesn't have Anne anymore, but I am glad, I feel, that they are bringing in these like kind of newer characters like Mona Lisa and everything, because we need some shake up, I feel. That we need like some freshness, I think.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I think it helps.
It happens around that time, I think. Like if you're in season 5, season 6, like you kind of need some newbies, you know?
Yep. Absolutely.
So. Anyway, well, thank you all for listening. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share with all of your friends. Let us know if there's anything else you want us to research. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you next time.
Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.